The Washington chapter of the American Planning Association has been exploring the challenges facing urban planning in our state. As a result of our efforts, we've produced discussion briefs, resource guides, and other products useful to planners in local communities. Those are now posted on our website. This video is one of a series of videos produced by APA directed toward elected officials and local community citizens. We hope it will provide a basis for action in your community.
Over the past year, students at the University of Washington-Tacoma have looked at regional planning collaborations of various kinds in Washington state. They've talked with planners, elected officials, and professionals from Walla Walla to Bellingham and beyond. And they've rediscovered something really important. It's something we all know, but can't emphasize enough. Solving the key development challenges that face our state usually means taking a regional perspective along with a local one. They are not at odds with one another. In fact, they found that working on planning problems regionally adds value to what local communities do. Cities in the Yakima Valley formed a voluntary conference of governments to address regional concerns.
As you know, the future of any government is going to be regionalization. Is you have small towns with small police departments, small fire departments. So I think as you look at measuring the successes or not, it really comes down to, instead of Yakima getting funding and us solving our problem, is the groups getting funding, and now we're taking that funding and trying to find a solution.
One issue the Conference of Governments has recently decided to take on is homelessness, which is traditionally handled locally.
Cities deal with homelessness, obviously up and down from Grandview to Natchez, and you want to make sure that you collaboratively handle those efforts so you're not pushing someone out of Yakima into Wapato, pushing somebody from the lower valley up in the upper valley, and they're just kind of transitioning from city to city, but still homeless, never really solving the problem. So Conference of Governments can really bring everyone together and say, hey, we're communicating, we have the same types of programs and funding.
Increasingly, no one single community, not even the biggest ones, can tackle the biggest planning problems on their own. That's why we think enhancing regional decision-making is a truly big idea. We need to work together across political boundaries as our everyday lives become more and more regional in nature, as we live, work, play, and shop across local boundaries. And we are working together.
But a Conference of Governments can really drill down into an issue and say, our focus is going to be the regional homeless program. Our focus is going to be engineering for small communities. Our focus is going to be these projects that really allow them to flourish and get the service and attention they need without getting lost in the shuffle of a large government or even a government that's got higher priorities.
Think of Sound Transit, or the Columbia Gorge Commission, or think of Metro in King County, which was created in the late 1950s to help clean up a polluted Lake Washington. But these days, more often than not, we work together through local voluntary associations created from the bottom up by people like you. That's not always easy to do, but the good news is that communities across Washington state are engaging one another and third parties every single day in all kinds of creative regional collaborations.
Important interface when you have a large private service provider that works on transportation or works on issues that are related to homelessness and can really help bring people together. So it's invaluable to have those kinds of people at the table. And when you look at municipal government, you have all elected officials or all people that are part of it. And the Conference of Governments, you have different people at the table that can bring a perspective that you may not see or offer you some insight into, yeah, we've been through these types of grants, we've been through this type of funding, here's how you're going to be most effective with implementing some sort of homeless program.
Regionalism is normal. Folks are confronting big problems, from homelessness to climate action, and from economic development to watershed protection.
When we conducted our studies, we found that the Thurston Regional Planning Council took a regional approach to combat pollution associated with stormwater runoff. By establishing watershed boundaries, instead of relying on municipal lines, they were able to coordinate across jurisdictions.
So regional collaborations come in many forms, and for many reasons, as they should.
Also through the TRPC, the City of Tumwater was able to use Thurston County's GIS data in exchange for Tumwater's fiber optic line.
There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Every community is different. Some communities collaborate because in truth, they simply don't have the planning capacity or the money to act on their own.
The funding for Yakima Valley Conference of Governments comes from a proportional rate that cities are billed we're charged to be a part of it, and Yakima County, of course, pays in. But it helps serve every one of us regionally, so we may be paying more in but not get the same level of service. That's not a bad thing. It's just we don't need some of the services that they provide while other communities do, but it allows us to stay together as a group, and I think that's very important.
I think what my students found in the state of Washington is what we find nationally and internationally with regionalism. Regionalism is helpful to improve the global competitiveness of an economy. It's helpful to reduce fiscal stress. It's helpful to improve services. And it's helpful to deal with the increasing threat of global climate action. We also found that the key to enhancing regional collaboration is almost always local political leadership. Somebody has to take charge and help build trust and civic capacity. Another thing that we found in these projects, as you saw in the Yakima case, was a local nonprofit can be really helpful in getting attention and energy. And then the third thing that we found is get youth involved. Use their energy, use their social networking. They're the ones inheriting your communities in the future.
Naturally, there are many other stories of effective regional collaboration in Washington State. So we encourage you to go to the Big Ideas website to learn more about how regional planning can help confront some of our biggest development problems.